also now being joined by aviation veterans. We do have Ajay Avtani, who's the founder, live from alounge.com as well, and Sanjay Lazar, aviation expert, joining us this afternoon. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking time out and joining us this afternoon. This is a very important story that we're tracking at this hour, because you do have the potential that this has to be impacting operations across the board. You do have certain cities, the likes of Chennai, that already have a little bit of a double whammy on the account of cyclone Ditwa as well. And there you have Akasa Air issuing an advisory on the account of the cyclone that operations are going to be impacted. Other than that, about 338 flights also stand to be impacted back home. And you do have about 6,000 flights that are also, that do have the potential to be hit when it comes to Airbus A320 as well. First things first, I wanted to get a sense, Ajay, from you in terms of what you think about this particular disruption. What kind of impact, what's the quantum that you're seeing when it comes to the disruptions as well?
Hi, Shreyanshi. So the impact is pretty minimal on Indian carriers. Last night when this news broke, and Airbus and EASA both sent out emails on this, looked like it was a big deal. And I believe, as per Danish, some airlines around the globe are impacted. But in India, IndiGo and Air India Express are controlling it pretty well, right? I mean, I think 60% or 70% of the upgrades are already rolled out. In fact, IndiGo has already assured that by 8:30 tonight, all their planes will be up to speed with the changes that are required. So hardly any cancellations. No cancellations, in fact, some delays, of course, because it's taking an additional 20, 30 minutes to change the software on board. But beyond that, flights operating pretty smoothly in India. So I don't think we have anything to worry about on the base. But if there are planes that are flying outside of India for IndiGo and Air India, I think we'll have to wait for them to return to the country to have the updates installed on those planes as well.
All right, then. So that seems to be echoing the sentiment that Danish also expressed when it comes to the disruptions. Sanjay, I also wanted to take this across to you, because you do have, like Ajay mentioned at this point, that you do have IndiGo also flagging that there's going to be a little bit of a delay when it comes to some of their operations. You do have Air India also coming out with that sort of advisory. And at the same time, you do have the DGCA that has gone ahead and come out with a very strict advisory in terms of the mandatory checks as well. So what is the sense that you're also getting? Do you concur with the view that Ajay and Danish expressed at this point in time?
Thank you, Shreyanshi. Yeah, absolutely. I concur with what Ajay and Danish have said. In fact, I must compliment the DGCA for acting so quickly. And, all the airlines, like Ajay said, 70% of them are already rectified. Unlike, when you look at the US market, for example, Avianca has stopped flights bookings till 8th of December. You'll have JetBlue, United, American, all the big four in the US are affected because, out of the 6,000 odd 320s family that are flying, about 1,000 of them are the older version, which will need a hardware fix. We are fortunate in India that all our airlines are operating a more modern version which just needs a software fix, which takes 3 to 4 hours. But if you had a hardware fix, then the downtime would be quite substantial in terms of days. So we are fortunate in that sense. We've also been very fortunate. And I think I'll take a minute to just talk about the difference in the way Boeing and Airbus have handled, issues of software, issues of problems with, the aircraft. And our compliments to Boeing as well, to Airbus, sorry, not Boeing, for dealing with this with great alacrity. I don't expect too much of disruption. I think Ajay is very correct. Both IndiGo and Air India have announced that there should not be cancellations. Air India Express says there could be 8 delay and maybe 3 or 4 disruptions, but we'll wait to see. Tomorrow morning is when they've got a deadline by the DGCA. I expect most Indian Airbus aircrafts to be compliant by then, and the maximum slight delay, if at all, no disruptions as such.
All right, then. So that's the view coming in from Sanjay as well. But tell you what, Ajay, I just quickly wanted to get a sense of what you think about DGCA's reaction as well. Of course, Sanjay has complimented DGCA's promptness when it comes to this particular story, because you did have, this disruption being highlighted in the early hours of the morning. And you do have DGCA that has gone ahead and really reflected on it, come out with a very stern advisory as well. And that action was in fact very prompt. I also wanted to get a sense of what you think about the DGCA's reaction in terms of whether or not you think that they have become more prompt, given that you do have airlines, aircraft safety that has been in the spotlight in the last few months, of course, and especially this year. Is there a little bit of more promptness that you're seeing on account of DGCA, or do you think that they've always been prompt when it comes to regulations and reactions?
So, Shreyansi, this issue is mostly governed by the EASA, which is the certifying regulator of the of Airbus and the A380, the A320 family aircraft. So, when they said last night, which is about 11:30 in the night in India time, that about half the fleet, so about 11,000 A320 family aircraft operate around the globe right now, about 6,000 are affected, and they said, listen, all these aircraft which are affected, we need to identify them and then we need to fix them. And the next takeoff of the plane should not happen without the software or hardware fix being attached. So DGCA had no choice but to implement it, So DGCA obviously issued a notification on the back of that as soon as business hours opened this morning. And I believe that the Indian airlines, which is both IndiGo, IndiGo, Air India, and Air India Express, they would have already started working on it in the wee hours of the night when the planes would have landed back into Delhi or wherever the basis was for the maintenance.
Absolutely, and Sanjay, I also wanted to take this across to you and try and understand how this stands in the greater scheme of things, right? Like right now, we do understand that this stands to not impact operations, especially in terms of cancellations. Yes, there might be a delay. Yes, you might be waiting a little bit longer when it comes to some of these flights that you might be boarding if you're looking at an Airbus A320 as well. But what is the sense that you get as a traveler? Is there anything that should be changing when it comes to your approach, either when you're booking flights or when you're leaving from home? Should you be leaving earlier? Is that something that you should be also factoring in at this point in time, just in general in terms of a trend that is changing? Or do you see this as a one-off, as a right now situation?
Well, I as a traveler, I can only advise other travelers, please be patient. Understand that your airlines are going through something very significant, and therefore, flights could be delayed because this is something that's the likes of which has not happened before. Unless we go back to the Max. So groundings of this aircraft, one of the most popular aircrafts in the world, if not the most popular family, and understand that the airlines are working with the regulators to correct this. Also, a very interesting point that Ajay brought up and you raised is how this would affect international flights. I mean, if there were aircraft of IndiGo, Air India, Airbus aircraft overseas, then the EASA mandate says they cannot fly with passengers. So they're allowed up to 3 ferry movements. So that's something that I don't think has come out either from any airline statement or the DGCA so far. How many of these airlines aircraft are overseas at the moment? Because I know they fly to Southeast Asia and Middle East, etc. So that would be an interesting aspect, causing some disruption or delay, or they'd have to get this correction done overseas. That's the only thing. I can just advise patience on all the travelers. I don't think there's anything else that they need to.
All right, then. So patience is key here, and that's the only thing that you should be holding on to at this point in time. And that's the word coming in from Sanjay as well. Quickly, before we let you go, Ajay, do you have any closing comments when it comes to this? Of course, it does seem like it's a little bit of a blip at this point in time. What is your take on this?
No, look, this is an issue under control. I think people have nothing to worry about. EASA and Airbus have been very transparent about the issue ever since they notified this. And I found some people complaining that the issue happened a month back on October 30th. So what took so long? So, the whole aviation community, the whole business of aviation is built on the perspective of safety. So obviously, EASA or Airbus had to first study the issue before coming out to a conclusion that this is what is the affected issue. And as we see, the role is the fix is pretty simple.
Right.
Okay, it just needs some downtime, but it's pretty simple, and airlines have it under control. So nothing for you to worry about. No hype needed on this. Just go to the airport as you usually do. Enjoy the wedding you're going to or coming back from, or the hill station, or your business meetings. Everything's under control, and you just might have a 20-minute delay.
All right then, so there you go. That's the word coming in from Ajay as well, that enjoy the view, enjoy the ride, and promptness is something that is being shown at this point in time. Nothing to worry about in terms of patience. That's the only thing that is key right now, and safety is paramount. Thank you so much for joining us.